movies for black girl nerds.
Thank you, both of you, for your time. This movie is a triumph. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I will definitely be seeing it again. There is a tremendous amount of work that goes into a film like this, emotionally and physically. Beginning with you, Thuso, when you were preparing, what is challenging? I don't want to ask you that. It's all challenging, just the mental preparation. But you in particular, what was the easiest for you to lock in on with this character, and what took you to parts of yourself which stretched you more as a performer to make sure you locked into this role?
So I generally really enjoy playing and finding new characters, and Nawi was no exception. She's independent, she's stubborn, rebellious, she's very much spirited, which in some spaces is different to who I am. I like to withdraw, I'm an observer. Nawi goes without thinking and then deals with the consequences, deal with her later. So I enjoyed finding those parts of her, researching how she thinks as opposed to how I naturally think. But then what I found with this particular project is that the physical went very much hand in hand with the emotional, in the sense that when I had to go into the stunts training, I really had moments where it got so hard that I started doubting myself. But also, I'm a person who's always wanted to do an action film, right? And similarly with my character, she's always wanted to be in the army. But then it's that thing of, okay, now you have what you want, and this is the reality of it. And so I was able to say, okay, and as much as this is knocking me as Thuso, this is probably the same thing that my character would be experiencing. We're doing obstacle courses. They have to learn how to run through thorns, be pelted with stones, do all these hard and seemingly ridiculous things, and not showcase any pain, And so that was I think when that realization hit me in real time, I was able to take my preparation to another level.
John, for your portrayal of the king, okay, next level, y'all were working hard. I looked at some of these stunts and just some of the behind the scenes preparation for the film and thought, yes, Lord, you guys were working very, very hard for a very short amount of time to get it all done within months. And it's epic, and the outcome is incredible. John, for you, I loved your portrayal of the king in that the king is stately, but he has this all-woman army which is progressive in a sense, because we don't see enough stories of women warriors that did exist in a variety of cultures, but they're never brought to the light. So finding that balance between a king who is strong and not to be undermined, but still having the foresight to know that these women are warriors and it's in its best interest to keep them all next to him. What did you personally think about that historical aspect, and how did it inform your choices of how you wanted to project and portray the king?
Yeah, I mean, definitely gave me the opportunity to explore that through my connection to Nanisca. Because while the king is this young, charismatic, sometimes irritable, young king that's come into power, who's progressive and all these kind of things, he still is naive and he still has a lot to learn. And Jeandra told me that Nanisca has the king's ear in such a unique way that when they're together in council, you see the boy, almost asking his mother, like, what do I do? And I can relate to that as, being a 30-year-old man. Yes, I have a working life in which I have to, sell movies and do all this great dynamic stuff. But when I go home and talk to my mom, I'm like, what do I do? And, mum sees the boy and says, here's the wisdom I'll impart into you. So that dynamic was something that, played itself, it kind of like shadowed itself into the scenes in which I was like, yeah, let me show the audience that, yeah, this is a king, and he's been given the mantle of a king, but he's still learning what that means, like, as a man, he's still learning that.
I thank you both for your time. I love that this movie is landing during this era, because in my era, it was about Shaka Zulu and roots and all those things that uplifted our African history. And now this is the next chapter for this next progressive generation. So I thank you both for your wonderful performances. Come on, Oscars. Thank you guys.
All right. Thank you so much.
You know what?
Thank you, ladies, for your time. This movie is a triumph. I was all the way in from the beginning. And I was pondering how I wanted to talk to the both of you, like what type of tone I wanted. Should it be celebratory? Should it be more serious? Because there's portions of both in this. Sheila, I will begin with you. There's so much solidarity, sisterhood, and sacrifice that come from the women in this film. When you look at your whole journey from being cast to that final day on set when it was all said and done, how has this movie transformed you as a performer, as a Black woman, as an African descendant, and just in all those ways?
It's kind of immeasurable, the way in which it's transformed me. I think I'm still processing it. You know, we only wrapped in March as well of this year, so the turnaround time has been so quick. And the shoot was so intense. It really was like just 5 months all in, every day, working, either shooting or training. But what I took from it was that it was the hardest I've worked as an actor. And also I could see that in other people as well, in, you know, the actresses, the fantastic actresses around me. And I watched the film and I can't believe we did that. I just can't believe it. You know, I was watching fight sequences like, who, how, you know? And I'm so proud of myself. I'm proud of everybody who was a part of this project. I'm proud to be an African descendant. I'm proud to be a Black woman. I think that's what I've really taken from this, pride. I'm also incredibly proud of everyone who was instrumental in getting this film made. You know, Gina, Prince Bride, the director, Viola, who not only led us and the cast as an actor, but, you know, was a producer on this as well, alongside Julius, her husband. And I just, you know, I know how much they had to fight for this project and for us. So when you talk about solidarity, that was something that was felt, you know, off screen as well, and is something that I think we brought and fed into our characters, not just because that's the story of the Agojie, but because we were going through that as well. So I'm just proud. I'm proud of us. And yeah, I feel like that pride is going to grow as my understanding of the impact of this project grows too.
I couldn't agree more. I'm immensely proud. Lashana, over to you. As a Black American, it was satisfying to me to see a story that shows some roots in the diaspora without it being a complete trauma porn movie of suffering. It was of strength. It was of pride. It was of womanhood and sisterhood. When you reflect on the journey, how has it transformed you?
I think much of the same. I watched the film and didn't quite understand how we were able to do that, how we accomplished it in such a short space of time. I would watch a film like that without me being in it and believe these women probably trained for about 5 years to accomplish that. They probably prepped for months in order to, you know, learn the lines and the accent and everything. And I'm just incredibly proud of it being made, for the industry to now have a blueprint, an example as to how we can shape the knowledge around the world of Black culture, of African culture, and of ancestral details that is really imperative for us to understand where we come from, why we are who we are, and for young people growing up to see this as an example of everything past, post, and post-slavery, post-oppression. There is reason to celebrate. There is reason to really look at ourselves and think, wow, I quite literally am capable of anything. I have a power within me that I don't quite understand, but I know I have access to it. And I think that this film now gives us access to more of an understanding of how to gauge what we're able to use in our workplaces, in our personal lives, to tap deeper. You know, we really had to tap deeper within this shoot and the prep, and even now, just speaking to people like yourself, we're putting some pieces together and really gauging the magnitude of what this is. And even just the little that I've heard from the response of the film, it's almost like we're going to have a world celebration to have. I almost want to just get everyone together and have a big discussion about it, because there's so much to say. Incredibly proud of the hard work that it took to get this off the ground. And I just look forward to just sitting maybe in the back of a cinema and just hearing people's responses and getting some responses from young people especially.
It's brilliant. I'm going to go see it again. I'm going to take my mom, I'm going to take my daughter.
Yes.
You know, it was brilliant. You are marvelous. Thank you for your talent and performances and your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Better shake your booties for black girl nerves. Better shake your booties for black girl nerves.